Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video for you guys from Swagkage, and this is his most recent video talking about how strong Naruto is without Kurama. Now, I guess spoilers for the Boruto series, both the manga and the anime. Naruto is officially confirmed to not have Kurama anymore. That was the price for using Baryon mode, and a lot of people since then have been speculating as to just how strong Naruto is now that he doesn't have the Nine Tails' chakra to help him anymore. So we're going to be watching this video, and I personally don't think that Naruto is as weak as a lot of people probably make him out to be. I think a lot of people attribute Naruto's strength to just the Nine Tails, and while I do think that's a big factor, I think that people again are overlooking just how strong he personally is without Kurama. So I'm hoping this video will probably shed some light on how strong he is without Kurama to help him.
Hey everybody, real quick before we get started with the video, I just wanted to call your attention to something. Now don't worry, this isn't a sponsorship or anything like that. Rather, Mr. Beast contacted me a little while ago, as well as plenty of other creators to spread awareness about Team Seas. To briefly summarize what Team Seas is, Mr. Beast is looking to raise as much money as possible to get trash out of the ocean. Just a go green, keep the environment clean sort of deal. I think he's doing something really cool, and I'm more than happy to spread the message to as many people as possible. I'll leave the relevant information and links in the description for those of you who are interested, and it'd mean a lot to me, Mr.
So there you
Beast,
go,
and,
guys.
well,
Link in
all
the
of Team
description
Seas,
of Swag's video. I'll leave a link to Swagkage's channel. I'll also leave a link to this video that we're watching in the description, so you can go there and then you can check out the description of his video and you can check out the link.
Any of you were willing to pitch in. Now, it's totally optional, and I completely understand if some of you just don't have the ability to, but for those of you who are interested, like I said, the links will be in the description. Even if you
only donate if you actually have the ability to donate. If you're someone who's in, let's say, not financially capable of donating, then that's completely fine, guys. They're not asking you to go out of your way to help, but only help if you can.
Can't donate, just a simple tweet or post elsewhere with the hashtag TeamSeas to spread awareness would be greatly appreciated. So I'm going to put my faith in you guys. I trust you to make as much noise as possible and get as much money raised as possible so we can help Team Seas get 30 million pounds of trash out of the ocean. Thanks for listening, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Swagkage here, and today, so the video topic should be fairly obvious given the title, and unlike last time, I brought my boy, Seth with me. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
So, yeah, I promised that I would do something like this at the end of last week's video. And, Seth and I have actually talked about this quite a bit, like pre-recording. It is a fairly difficult question to answer because, there are a lot of reasons why. First of all, Naruto hasn't really done anything since he lost Kurama.
Oh yeah, so okay, I talked about this in my review of this chapter, but the way Naruto is drawn here, his head, I don't know why, like it's so weird. Like this is just, it's not normal. I saw someone online do kind of an edit where they resized his head and it looks way more normal. Yeah, I don't know how this got through.
And also, Boruto, Dragon Ball Super's been like this too. Like the new gen like sequel anime manga have I don't know if you've talked about this in previous videos already, but they do this weird like intentional ambiguity thing in order to increase conversation or whatever.
Yeah, and good example of this, I'll give you a great example actually. There was an interviewer who, this is for Dragon Ball Super, but it's
also, in case you don't know who these are, this is Victor Yoshida and this is Toyotaro, obviously from the hat. If you don't know who this is, he's the editor for the Dragon Ball manga. In case you don't know, the editor for the Dragon Ball Super manga, and he's also Toriyama's editor. He works with Toriyama. So that, just in case you wanted to know who this is,
it's for Dragon Ball Super, but it's related because it's basically the new shonen mentality to be ambiguous. I think it's their current strategy. But with Dragon Ball, there was an interviewer who was like, who wins, Vegito Blue, who is a fusion character in Dragon Ball, versus Beerus, who's another big Dragon Ball character. And the author literally says, well, this character seems to think that perhaps he's above him, but who knows if he's right? that was his answer. So they really don't, whenever they see people argue about anything, they love to leave it ambiguous. I don't know if they like to farm YouTube videos or what off of it, but Yeah, the same thing is for Six Paths Naruto as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some ambiguity with how strong this new Naruto is as well.
See, I actually agree with what they say, is that they do kind of leave a lot of things ambiguous because, okay, I can give you an example. So, in the fight between Naruto and Sasuke against whether it's Ishiki or Jigen, whoever it is you want to say, even though I think they kind of said that Jigen is not as strong as Ishiki, and okay, fine, I can accept that. But the problem that I have with it is, in the story, they explained that when Ishiki and Kaguya came down to Earth, right, in order to plant the God tree, and then absorb the chakra, harvest the fruit of the fruit of the Shinju, excuse me, right? They say that Kaguya betrayed him and left Ishiki near dead. Okay, that's fine. I can understand that. Here's my problem though. If Ishiki really is as strong as they are telling us, like he's so strong that even Naruto and Sasuke can't do anything against him, that Naruto had to literally rely on plot bullshit in order to be able to do anything, how is it that Kaguya was able to leave him near dead? You see what I mean? It's like someone might say, well, she actually attacked him by surprise. Okay, but that's where I have a problem. It's like, even if you attacked him by surprise, you still shouldn't have had the power to be able to leave him in the state that he was in. Because remember, they showed us in the manga, and this was in the anime too, like half of his body was destroyed. And his, if I remember correctly, I think it was his right arm was just completely destroyed. So like, how the hell were you able to do that to him if, according to the lore, we know that the Kaguya that first came down to Earth is not as strong as the Kaguya who ate the fruit of the divine tree, and not as strong, and that version is still not as strong as the one that fought Naruto and Sasuke in the fourth grade ninja war. Do you see what I mean? And we know that in the Boruto era, adult Naruto and adult Sasuke could take on Otsutsuki members who are confirmed to be way stronger than Kaguya. And I think, if I remember correctly, in the Boruto novel, Sasuke said that when he looked at Kinshiki and Momoshiki, he said Kaguya could never have taken these guys on. And Sasuke knows about the Kage that he fought in the fourth grade ninja war, who again, I think was confirmed by Zetsu to be stronger and faster than when she was back before she was sealed. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, if let's go all the way back to the Kaguya who first showed up on Earth, who's way weaker than the one who even fought Naruto and Sasuke in the fourth grade ninja war, right? If Ishiki scales above Naruto and Sasuke, who scale above Kaguya, how is it that Kaguya was able to do what she could against him? Do you see what I mean? Like, see, that's where a lot of I think that's where I think a lot of people get confused, because you're telling me one thing and yet you're showing me another. So yeah, I do agree with them. They do leave a lot of things ambiguous, and they're even doing the same thing with Naruto and Sasuke, where I think Amado in one of the chapters, I think it was chapter 59 or 61, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere between the two, where he was talking to Kawaki about getting him the karma mark. He even said that right now it's impossible to calculate how strong Naruto is without the Nine Tails. And I think that, again, that adds to the point that they made in this video about the ambiguity thing, right? They are purposefully not telling us how strong each of these characters are. And I'm sorry, but you can't do that, especially if it's in a shonen battle manga. You have to make it clear how strong these characters are, and you can't tell us some things and then show us another thing. You see what I mean? It's like, again, this is why I get so frustrated with the Boruto manga, because it's like they usually contradict themselves a lot in this manga.
Yeah, I mean, like with Boruto, everybody's been arguing since, not even just this movie dropped, but since the last came out, about whether or not Naruto still has his six paths powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, like, if people can't even agree on what Naruto could still do before the nerf, when something as major as him losing the whole entire Nine Tails happens, there's going to be a lot of disagreement.
Yeah.
You're right.
And see, I know someone might bring up, I think it was in the, if I remember correctly, it was in the Shikamaru Shinden novel, or Shikamaru Retsuden. It was one of the what I think it was Shikamaru Retsuden. Yeah, where I think there's like a line in the novel where Shikamaru says that Naruto only has a small portion. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. Where he says that Naruto only has a small portion of the power that he got from the Sage of the Six Paths. To where it's like, okay, but at the same time, why is that in a novel? Why is that not made clear in either the manga or the anime? Do you see what I mean? It's like it's this thing where they purposefully, again, they leave things ambiguous, and because of that it causes a lot of debate between fans where whether or not Naruto or Sasuke could do certain things. Also, Naruto's thumb looks really really weird here. I don't know who drew this, but
rising and whatever about it. Now let me get one thing out of the way. I don't know which of you started this. I don't know if it was a collective thing, but this he's pain level thing needs to stop. Just,
what?
I don't want to hear any more about
wait. Are there seriously people who are saying that he's only pain level? Are they serious? Come on.
It is just not true at all.
Yeah, he has less chakra than his first battle with Naruto versus Sasuke.
Oh yeah, dude. I know what they're talking about. I had someone in the comments of one of my videos where they said that when I made the argument of why we don't see Sasuke use any of the other Rinnegan abilities. Now, one of the debates is that, or one of the arguments is that the people he's fighting against, it wouldn't really work against them. Now, I still don't necessarily agree, but okay, fine, that's a fair argument. I can understand that. But someone actually said that Sasuke's Shinra Tensei wouldn't be as strong as Pain's Shinra Tensei or Nagato's Shinra Tensei. And they say that Nagato is a master of the Rinnegan and Sasuke isn't, even though in one of the data books it says that Sasuke has mastered the Rinnegan's abilities. It's like, guys, come on. Come on, you're better than this.
One-tailed Naruto's giving him the hands.
There's a really easy way to prove that as long as you don't think that the Nine Tails is just massively, like, to an unreasonable extent, buffing Naruto's power in base, which I don't agree with. I don't think the Nine Tails makes him stronger in base at all. But anyway, an easy way to disprove this is when fighting Momoshiki. And now, I recently read the Boruto manga in its entirety, and when I first started talking to Seth about this, I remembered what I'm about to reference a little bit differently. I thought that Naruto in base fought regular base Momoshiki, and Momoshiki was using 50% of his power. But actually, what really happened was base Naruto using 50% of his power fought fusion Momoshiki. And he did way better than any of the other four Kage. Mm-hmm. Like, he was actually, they were relative. If I didn't know these two characters and I saw this fight, I'd get the impression that they were going back and forth. One wasn't massively stronger than the other or anything, right?
I mean, and it was interesting because even though that Momoshiki was probably suppressed and didn't feel the obligation to stress himself out and go all out.
He wasn't taking him seriously, all that seriously.
Was enough to basically one-shot every Kage there.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Gaara, who blocked it with a sand shield. But
yeah, Gaara was pretty impressive. But it's... Exactly.
So, at the very least, Naruto should still be stronger than all of the other four Kage. There are a lot of people who seem to doubt that still, think that the leaf is just like, it just sucks now, it doesn't have any strong ninja or whatever, but Naruto should still be able to, like, they were all afraid of him before this, and that should still be the case, just based on this Momoshiki interaction. And everybody knows this already, but just to go over it very quickly, Momoshiki, especially fused Momoshiki, should at least be sort of relative-ish to Kaguya, right?
Well, actually...
Now...
Actually, I think it was confirmed that Momoshiki is a lot stronger than Kaguya. I think that was confirmed. So no, I wouldn't agree that they're relative. It's pretty clear Momoshiki's stronger. A lot stronger. Earlier,
this is vague. The statements used to describe Momoshiki and his power relative to Kaguya aren't as concrete as I would like them to be. He's just he and Kinshiki as a pair, I should say, are just referred to as a threat greater than Kaguya. But if we assume that at the very least he's especially fused relative to her, then that makes this a whole lot easier, because that also means that even in base, Naruto should be way stronger than any version of his teenage self, except for the Six Paths Asura mode one. Just even considering the fact that Momoshiki was holding back significantly, like Seth said. Obviously, I don't think that this was Momoshiki's full power, because it did take Naruto going into KCM2 stage mode, or a Six Paths stage mode, whatever you think it was. Like I said earlier.
No, he was in Six Paths sage mode.
But anyway, it took him going.
See, again, because this is the indicator that he's in Six Paths sage mode. If there were pigmentation around his eyes, then yeah, he'd be using regular sage mode with KCM mode. But no, the fact that he has these eyes and no pigmentation means he's in Six Paths sage mode. I think I understand why a lot of people are confused about that, because they're used to associating Six Paths sage mode Naruto with, first of all, the clear skin, the normal skin without the glow of the KCM mode, and then of course he has the truth-seeking orbs. But no, he is still using Six Paths sage mode. It may not be as strong as the one that or I guess not as strong, but as potent as the one that he had when he first got the power from Hagoromo, but he is still using it. But again, yeah, I see where they're coming from. I understand why, because like they said, the series does like to leave things very, very vague. They don't like making definitive statements as to, oh, this person's stronger, except maybe Ishiki. They did make it pretty clear that Ishiki's stronger, but that's pretty much it. Like, that's the only character where you can confidently say how strong he actually is. But with everything else, you have to make a lot of guesswork, which is just not good for any series, especially, like I said, a shonen battle series.
Up into his final form, whatever you think that was, and teaming up with Sasuke to actually beat Momoshiki, and he was still keeping up with both of them fairly well, so he was a lot stronger than he was letting on at the beginning of the fight here. But the fact that...
And also, you got to keep in mind, like they said, Naruto and Sasuke were not operating at full power during that fight.
Naruto was able to trade blows, avoid attacks from any level of power of this fusion Momoshiki is insane.
I think a good way to scale Naruto as well is you can probably scale him to the other Kage, pretty basically.
Yeah.
The reason I say this is, after Naruto gets nerfed, we get 3 statements about his power. We have the Kage, who analyzed his current ability. We have Sasuke stating his current ability. And we have Sakura, who calculates his ability. So, the Kage say that we can't even be sure if he can take down an Otsutsuki without Kurama. So, the Otsutsukis we've seen so far are Momoshiki, Kinshiki, Kaguya, and there's Urashiki, but I don't think he's canon to the manga, so...
Yeah, Urashiki's trash. Just put him out of your mind.
Yeah, I don't. It's even. Some people are telling me even to the anime he's not canon.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Urashiki. I just act like he doesn't exist and move on with my life. But yeah,
smart move.
So
makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. So the current debate then is, could Naruto not take down Kinshiki in base? Well, Kinshiki was able to defeat the one Kage, and they had to team up on him. And even then, he was able to somewhat blow out of their trap they made for him when they 3v1'd him. Even with Sasuke Chidoring him from the back, when Sasuke still has his full powers, wasn't enough to take him down.
Well, actually, no. Sasuke didn't have his full power. Keep in mind, like I said, he had to open a portal to get to this dimension, and it is stated that when Sasuke uses that jutsu to open portals, it uses up a lot of his chakra. And it uses up even more when he teleports other people. So he teleported the 5 Kage, and then there's Boruto, and then the 2 scientists, Katasuki and his partner or his employee. We don't know who he is. So that's at least 7 people. So Sasuke was severely drained of a lot of his chakra before he even got into this fight. So no, I wouldn't say Sasuke's at full power here.
I think 4 Kage plus Sasuke jumped him to trap him.
Yep. That's exactly what happened, actually.
So if Naruto's weaker than that, I mean, I don't know if that's really a bad thing. I mean, it takes 4 Kage with Sasuke with his full powers jumping him to take him down. The
other thing about that too is they don't seem. They're like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't speak very definitively about it. But yeah, go ahead.
So with Sasuke's statement, he says he doesn't think that.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, I think I missed that. What did it say?
Statement. He says.
Hold on, I'm trying to. Okay, editor's note. Context is Sasuke's keeping his promise to kill Borushiki since Naruto can't do it. Okay, yeah, by the way, context. I think when he says Naruto can't do it, he's not saying because he doesn't have the power, even though, again, they leave that kind of ambiguous. But I think when Sasuke says he means Naruto can't do it because he doesn't think Naruto would have the ability to kill his own son. That's what he means when he says Naruto can't do it. So just to clarify that.
He doesn't think that Naruto currently can take down Momoshiki if he...
And also, I just wanted to talk about this for a second. So you have this moment, I think this was in episode 220, excuse me, where you had Sasuke talking about how, like he said, I intend to keep up my end of the bargain, where he says, next time Momoshiki takes over, I will keep my end of the deal, where I promised Boruto that I would stop him if he ever becomes a threat to the village and the shinobi world. Now, a lot of people have been saying that Sasuke and Naruto are not going to get any stronger, that they're going to willingly stay the way they are, which I've always thought makes no goddamn sense, because if we're going by what the series has been saying, and that... sorry if you can hear something, I'm getting a message. So people have been saying that Naruto and Sasuke now, the way they are, probably can't take out an Otsutsuki. Now, again, they do kind of leave it vague, which does kind of suck. But if what they're saying is true, that Naruto and Sasuke, as they are, probably can't take an Otsutsuki level threat, especially if Boruto, according to Gaara, he asked him, if you were to become an Ishiki level threat, right? As in someone who is as strong as Ishiki, someone who is that dangerous to the shinobi world. Naruto and Sasuke, if they really intend to keep their promise to Boruto and to stop him, and not just to Boruto but to the 5 Kage, to stop Boruto if he ever were to become that level of a threat, them willingly staying where they are would not make any goddamn sense. Because keep in mind, Naruto and Sasuke, even at their best, struggled against Ishiki. So you would think that they would know that and would willingly find ways to get stronger, so that if it ever does happen, because the threat of Momoshiki taking over is still there. Yes, the pills have stopped the Otsutsufication, but Momoshiki taking over could still happen. That threat is still very much real. So Naruto and Sasuke knowing this would not just... I mean, Naruto I can kind of understand because, again, that's his son. But Sasuke being okay with this makes no sense, because Sasuke made a promise to protect the shinobi world no matter what. Okay, even if that's his student, he won't hesitate. He hesitated once. He even admits it in this episode. But like he says right here, next time this happens, I'm not going to hesitate. I will kill Boruto. And if he wants to be able to do that, he needs to find a way to power up, whether it's not limiting himself by keeping himself as just having one eye and one arm, or actually getting a replacement eye and finally getting like that prosthetic that was promised him, or finding other ways to power up, whether it's finding new ways to evolve his Sharingan, or finding new ways to improve the Susanoo, or other ways, whatever it is. He's going to have to do it if he wants to keep his end of the deal. Because if Boruto ever does get to the level of power that Ishiki has, Sasuke wouldn't be able to do anything. So just wanted to say my piece on that.
He revives. So the thing with Momoshiki is that we do not know if he kept his fusion powers or not. I hope they don't keep this ambiguous, but they might be.
I mean, the thing that's confusing about that is that, I think they're about to mention
Momoshiki
it. Yeah, see, when he gave him the karma mark, he looked normal. So, is it possible that he doesn't have the power that he had when he was fused? I don't know.
Inside Boruto's little Jinchuriki world, Momoshiki looks like he's in base form. And, Borishiki looks like base Momoshiki as well. So we don't know if he's like fusion Momoshiki still, or has the same power level, he just looks like base. But there's also the other argument that when you resurrect through a karma or a vessel, you're stronger than before. So the Momoshiki that revives through Boruto could be stronger than the original Momoshiki. And we never really saw Momoshiki get defeated. We just saw him running from the Kage. So he's just going to be stronger than that now. So we have no idea how exactly strong he is. He's implied to be above Kinshiki in power, and we know what Kinshiki did.
Yep.
So if base Naruto can't take down Borishiki, I don't think that's really an anti-feat either. The other thing I'd like to bring up, I think this is the most important thing for me personally, is when Sakura analyzes his power, she says, you're not going to have that superhuman, insane chakra anymore. And you probably can't fight as well as you used to. But
yeah, and a lot of people have speculated that when Sakura says that you don't have that superhuman chakra anymore, it's possible that she was also referring to the fact that Naruto doesn't have he doesn't have like any tailed beast chakra in him at all. Because a lot of people have been wondering, well, okay, Naruto doesn't have Kurama, but he still has a chakra from the other tailed beasts, right? Well, it's possible they just told us that no, that's not the case, because Sakura flat out tells him, after examining him, that he doesn't have any superhuman chakra, which the tailed beast would fall under that category. And if she says he has none of it, then it's possible that he doesn't. And again, this falls into that whole thing of them keeping things really ambiguous, which sucks because you can't make definitive statements.
she doesn't. The problem with this statement is she doesn't say, "Oh, Naruto, you're completely irrelevant, weaker than base Jiraiya, you're weaker than Konohamaru,
Yeah.
you probably should step down, you're not even a top dog in the Leaf Village, you're like average Jonin level." She doesn't make these types of declarations, you know what I mean? She never makes the statement, "Oh, you're completely irrelevant." And Naruto doesn't say, "Oh, wow, I can't fight at all anymore." He just says, "It's going to be hard to fight like I used to." And, that whole 7th Hokage title I had, which is basically Shinobi God, will be a lot harder to maintain.
Yeah, it just means that he's going to have to find a new way of fighting because he can't fight like he did before. Before, he had a unique way of fighting where he relied on the chakra that he got from Kurama. And he can't do that anymore. He's going to have to be... You know what's an interesting parallel is, remember in the 4th Great Shinobi War when Madara was revived, he talked about how there was that moment where he mentioned that because he had Hashirama's healing ability, he couldn't fight as refined as he used to. So he can afford to be a little careless because he knows that whatever damage he accumulates, it'll just heal. I think that that's probably what Naruto was doing, because he knew that the Nine Tails Chakra not only severely amped up his physical abilities, but it also, like we know, the Nine Tails Chakra allows his body to heal. Whatever damage happens, it just immediately heals itself. And because he doesn't have that anymore, he's going to have to be a lot more precise and careful in his fights. Just thought that was an interesting parallel.
In the current Boruto era. So to say Naruto's just complete fodder, like he'd be like Pain level, is very disingenuous. I don't think that's being narratively implied through any statement.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing too is that's worth keeping in mind is that when Naruto fought Pain, and even a decent bit into the war, he knew like 3 jutsu, and we know that at this point he's expanded his arsenal massively. Like, he knows Earth Style, for example.
yeah, exactly.
And it's possible, I'd even go so far as to say that it's likely that he still has all of the Keke Genkai elemental abilities that he got from being Jinchuriki of all the other Biju. It is weird because I've seen a lot of people claim or argue that Kurama was like the catalyst for them showing up and him drawing on their chakra, but nothing like this is ever really stated. And even if it is the case, we've seen Sasuke manage to do a sort of pseudo ice release thing by using wind release to cool
Sasuke Shinden, the teacher star
now,
pupil.
He says it's inferior to actual ice style jutsu. But considering the fact that Naruto has experience using like lava style, magnet style, and so on and so forth, it should follow then that he should be able to do the same thing. So he should still be able to do all this crazy like magma style, magnet style, Rasengan, Rasen Shuriken, whatever. He doesn't have Biju bombs and stuff anymore, but he should still be able to make a whole lot of shadow clones and stuff too. One thing that I would like to point out is that when Naruto was training to learn, or to create, I should say, the Rasen Shuriken, Kakashi made a point to highlight the fact that Yamato was completely suppressing the Nine Tails chakra throughout this training. And this was a much weaker Naruto. He was like 15, and the Naruto we're talking about here is in his 30s. So he's had a lot of time to grow and make his body stronger just naturally and through training. And with the Nine Tails chakra fully suppressed, Naruto was still able to fill up the whole training field with clones in order to cut his training time down by hundreds and hundreds of times. So all of the crazy like shadow clone, insane amount of chakra summoning feats that he was able to do before, he should still be able to do even in base, because one thing that the series makes clear is that there are a lot of points where Naruto is fighting to conceal or suppress Kurama's chakra so that Kurama doesn't take him over. When he's using Sage Mode specifically, actually, he's not able to use Kurama's chakra at all. As a matter of fact, trying to use both of them together causes Kurama to disrupt his ability to gather natural energy, and he's just not able to enter Sage Mode in the first place. It's actually like a big deal when Naruto is able to combine using Kurama's chakra with Sage Mode. So we can safely say that not having the Nine Tails when he was fighting Pain, for example, or when he was using Sage Mode really at any point, even against like Obito, for example, it didn't really make a difference. And the reason this is relevant here is that in like base non-Nine Tails Sage Mode, then that should mean that Naruto's not any weaker now after losing the Nine Tails than he would have been entering Sage Mode.
One of the arguments I see as well is that Kurama's chakra was specifically sealed by Minato in a way where Kurama's chakra would fuse with base Naruto's, which would amplify it and become his own chakra. However, I would actually make one of the arguments that Naruto, even after losing Kurama, would have kept those increases.
Yeah.
And we talked about this as well, but as an example, Ginkaku and Kinkaku, even as Edo Tensei, after dying, their souls were inflicted by this, basically. The souls of Kinkaku and Ginkaku, just from eating Kurama's guts in his body, were able to use Kurama chakra. Not joking.
Yeah,
So,
this is true.
What's more likely? For Naruto's base chakra to retain its amp, or its base level that became his own chakra, after living with him his whole life and becoming one being, or for Ginkaku and Kinkaku to be able to go version 2 Nine Tails Cloak by eating intestines from Kurama, and then post-death, after dying, they can still use this power. So I'm not saying that Naruto can use Kurama chakra, I'm just saying it is very likely that his amplified base chakra more than likely just became his chakra. In a similar sense, you know, Gaara kept a lot of abilities from Shukaku, which Kishimoto
he was
points
still
out
able
as
to
well,
use the sand.
even after losing him, etc. So a lot of characters do retain abilities. Madara retained his Sharingan abilities even when he was blind. So there's a lot of abilities and things in Naruto that once they're a part of you, you do tend
it stays
to retain,
that way.
Such as even Obito, after dying and going to the afterlife, retained 6 Paths chakra that wasn't even his to give to Kakashi, as an example. So there is a good argument that base Naruto was probably not that nerfed. Now you could say Kurama can't amplify base Naruto more. However, I don't think Naruto and base got any weaker per se.
Naruto can't use KCM at all anymore. He
No.
can't do like the partial stuff that he would do, where he would like run it across his arms or just make the cloak or whatever. He can't use the big avatar, no Biju bombs. But all the stuff
Which
that
does
he could
kinda
do without
suck.
Kurama, he can still do. It's not like he's been completely crippled or anything like that. Now,
So the other thing I wanted to get into, I don't know how important this is, but should we get into, does he still have 6 pads, or?
yeah, sure, you can go for it, cause it's weird, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
again-
talked about it a little bit with his like Keke Genkai abilities before, but yeah, you can get into some of like the other details if you want.
So this is for one, if you believed he even had 6 pads to begin with.
Yeah.
The question is, would he still be able to use 6 pads? Because 6 pads isn't necessarily, it's not like a Nine Tails ability. It's more like a Senjutsu kind of ability, right?
Yeah.
Well, the problem with 6 pads is that in the Ishiki fight, Naruto seems to imply that 6 pads is made by fusing Kurama and Naruto's chakra. He kind of makes that implication that their energy serves as kernels to make a 6 pads form. So even if Naruto could use 6 pads, maybe he could use it, but it's possible due to the much smaller chakra reserves that it would be weaker, maybe, if he could use it, but it does seem to be implied that Kurama is needed. The other problem, too, is that we know that Naruto's link to the other tailed beast was heavily implied to be Kurama by Hagoromo. Kurama stated Naruto to link Naruto to the other tailed beast. However, even base Naruto, at the end of the Sasuke fight, while all the other Biju are locked away in Chubaku Tensei and Hagoromo didn't really give that order, Naruto still had all the other Biju's chakra, and we know that the Biju all gave him their chakra while Naruto was all connected to them in a weird world where they all put their hands on his. So that's another ambiguous thing. Does he have, connection to those Biju? Does that connection to those Biju help give him 6 pads powers? So he either does not have 6 pads, or he more than likely has a nerfed 6 pads. Even more nerfed than people probably already thought. So that's my opinion.
I also think the idea that Kurama was like responsible for his 6 pads form is supported by the fact that in the Sasuke fight, when Sasuke starts powering up his Susanoo and gets ready to fire Indra's arrow, it's not Naruto who starts gathering the Senjutsu chakra nature energy, but Kurama. Kurama lets Naruto know he gathered as much nature energy for him as possible, and Naruto didn't really seem to take the initiative to do it himself at all. So it might be something that only Kurama could do, or like you were saying, it might be possible for Naruto to gather 6 pads Sage Chakra, but it would just be significantly harder, and the volume that he could handle would be a lot smaller.
A good example of this is, just how Sage Mode works. Sage Mode works by you combine a equal proportion of Senjutsu chakra to your normal chakra, and that creates Sage Mode. Well, if you're KCM2 Hagoromo amped, your chakra pool is probably a lot larger than it is normally, so you can then absorb a proportionally large amount of Senjutsu chakra.
I don't normally like putting numbers to stuff here in videos like this, just because of how vague, especially in this case, right? Like how strong Naruto is after losing Kurama. We still don't know everything. But, I think in this case it might actually be appropriate. Now, bear in mind, I'm not saying this for sure, but it might be a good starting point. In the Rasen Shuriken training I mentioned earlier, Kakashi actually lets us know the difference between Naruto's chakra and the Nine Tails chakra, roughly speaking anyway. He says that normally, like inherently, Naruto has 4 times as much chakra as him. And now, Kakashi's total chakra pool is not relevant for this analysis at all.
Also, the whole thing about him not having with little chakra, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I mean, well, we know that Kakashi's now a lot stronger than he was here, so maybe his chakra pool did kind of improve. So, but he's still, even by then, I don't know. It's
I'd like to just focus on the 4 times here. So just pretend he just said Naruto's chakra is 4. right? Don't worry about Kakashi. Let's not compare the two. He then says if Yamato wasn't fully suppressing the Nine Tails throughout this training, then Naruto's chakra reserves would be more like 100 times. So, now 100 could be rough. It could be like anywhere from like 90 to 120. We don't really know, but I'll just say 100 for the sake of simplicity. This would imply a difference of like 25 times between Naruto's chakra by itself and Naruto's chakra with the Nine Tails assistance. So, if you agree with Seth's analysis there, then that having more chakra would therefore make your Sage Mode stronger, then 6-pad Sage Mode Naruto with no Kurama could very well be, I'd even say it's likely that he is maybe like 25 times weaker than he was before.
Yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say other than that, unless you want to get into things like could Naruto beat Sakura or something like that. You want to get into that? Okay.
Yeah, he probably could, just because I think Sakura could beat base EMS Valley of the End Madara. Doesn't mean I think that she could beat Naruto from Boruto?
No, she can't. I'm sorry. We got to. Come on, let's take it easy for a second
here. I don't
here.
think I'll make too much of a direct statement on it, but I will say this: Sakura had an objective. She whipped out like a scouter that could read Naruto's current power level, and she didn't say, "Oh wow, even I could beat you now, Naruto." You know what I mean? So
which she would have said, by the way.
Yeah, she probably would have said it
for Sakura.
Yeah, so. I will say probably unlikely.
No.
I think Sage Naruto probably still is stronger, but you never know. So,
yeah.
Well, they do like to leave things ambiguous.
It's definitely
so
vague. There are a lot of different ways to interpret how powerful Naruto is at this point, and I'd say that a lot of them are valid, unless you think that he's like pain level.
No, he's not. Come on, guys.
He's just not.
Yeah, he's not pain level, bro. he's at least current Kage level, so we can agree to that.
Yeah, like Seth said, I think that's all there really is to say about it. So if you have any questions, any thoughts of your own, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you have any ideas for future videos you'd like me to make, you want me to talk about Boruto related, let me know or shoot me a message on Twitter. Yeah, thanks Seth for coming by.
Did they really have to end it like this? Come on, that's just mean. All right, so yeah, that is the video. So again, they brought up a lot of interesting points, like addressing the whole thing about how whether or not Naruto has 6 paths anymore. It's a question that's been on a lot of people's minds. People are speculating that he doesn't because, like you said, Kurama was the one overseeing that whole sanctuary where all of the tail beast chakra are, gathered. And because Kurama isn't there, he's to oversee it anymore, it kind of, I guess, dissipated, or they go by the statement that Sakura said where she says, you don't have that superhuman chakra anymore. Now, again, it falls into the point that they made about how a lot of things in Boruto are left purposefully ambiguous. Like, they don't like to make definitive statements, with the exception of Ishiki. I think pretty much everyone knows that Ishiki is pretty much the strongest, well, except for Naruto and Baryon, although that wasn't permanent. So if we discount that, Ishiki is without a doubt the strongest being in this verse. Although who knows, by the time you guys watch this video, that could have changed. You'll probably see this by the time the new chapter comes out, or maybe somebody in the future you're watching this video, the story would have already concluded, and you have pretty conclusive proof as to who the strongest is or not. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, leaving things purposefully vague isn't helping. Like, they say that you don't have that superhuman chakra anymore, but we don't know if she's referring to just Kurama or the other tail beasts. We don't know how strong he is relative to the other Kage. I would still say he's stronger than the other Kage, especially if you add Sage Mode on top of it. So yeah, and there was that whole thing that they mentioned about how once you have chakra in you, it doesn't really leave, it stays a part of you, although that may not be the case with Baryon, because Baryon literally requires you to you burn up whatever chakra you have in order to produce a new type of energy, but the problem is that only lasts as long as you have that chakra. And I mean, I guess it would have worked better if you were an Edo Tensei, because if you're an Edo Tensei, you basically have an unlimited supply of chakra. So, maybe, so it does beg the question: Edo Tensei Naruto with Kurama would probably be able to go into Baryon mode, and it would be permanent. It wouldn't run out because of the whole limitless supply of chakra. So, we don't know. Again, you know what? I want to throw the question to you guys. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you for the next video. Bye for now.